The story begins when I wake up in an unknown place. Where am I? What am I? Why am I here? These questions are running through my head as I woke up finding myself in the middle of nowhere. I was overwhelmed with emotions. Negative ones. And I don't know what to think. All I know is that now I'm in the middle of the ocean, or is this even an ocean? My whole life I have never been on a boat, never seen an ocean, probably on TVs. But what am I doing on this raft surrounded by waters? For a few hours I was stunned at the scene in front of me. My eyes were wide open, staring at the endless ocean. Fear was chilling down my spine. How am I all alone in the middle of the sea or river or whatever you call it? I don't have any recall what had happened to me before I was knocked out cold in the middle of the ocean. All of a sudden, I felt a sense of dread as if someone was behind me. "Hello, anybody there?" I shouted at the tip of lungs. "Did I got kidnapped? Can someone help me? Please, anyone?" With little to no hope that anyone would actually come to my help. After a few attempts, I fell back to my raft devastated. Lying on this deserted raft with no cell phone or anything, just me, my clothes and the raft floating in the eerie night, not even a single crumb of bread or a drop of fresh water I could find. Fearing the worst possible outcome, death, I broke down in anguish without a single idea on what to do. Is this how I am gonna die? In the vast ocean leading to Neverland? I could not comprehend the thought of myself dying at this young age. Why me? What did I do to ever deserve such fate? I mumbled in desperation as I tried to sleep my sorrows away, praying that it was all just a dream. No such luck. I was still stuck on the raft and accepted my fate. Suddenly, I felt dryness within my throat. I gathered my strength to crawl up to reach the edge of the raft. Looking at the thirst-quenching seawater, I remembered that if I were to drink this water I would only feel worse than before. However, I was out of option. With the instinct for survival, I dipped my face into seawater to get refreshed. If death were to take me, then so be it. As my face was in the water, I noticed the water sparkled out of the blue. I lifted up my eyes and saw a girl pale as paper with sharp blue eyes with a luscious green hair looking at my direction from the waters. Immediately, I was jumped back to my raft shocked, thinking to myself, what possibly could that thing be? Is she my savior? The being just stared back at me with her captivating eyes. The being then lifted her whole body from the water onto my raft. She was beautiful to lo and behold, a slim waist pairing with a voluptuous body figure. There was no other compared to her. As she helped herself onto my raft, I couldn't help but notice her hands were webbed, and her lower body was a fish. Despite all that, I was enthralled at this creature. No words were splurted from my mouth. With that glittering eyes she looked back at me. That's when I realized she was a mermaid. Nevertheless, a sense of unease ran through my body as she inched towards me. Is this really a mermaid? I can't help but wonder as she got uncomfortably close to me. She placed her chilling wet hands onto my abdomen and laid down on my chest as if she was seducing me. As she looked me in the eye she got even closer to my face and slowly her gentle lips touches mine. Not just lips but our tongues met. One thing led to another, and not before long we were making out on that lonely wooden raft floating among the calm waves under the starry night. I was so engulfed by the tender and compassionate touch that I forgot that she was not human. As I was mesmerized by that sensation, those majestic eyes suddenly enlarged, and her humanoid face turns into a carnivorous-like fish creature. The mermaid turns from a seductive creature to the most horrendous and creepy being. She then opens her mouth full of serrated teeth ready to gobble me up alive. Instinct kicks in, I pushed her as hard as possible hoping that I would not turn into dinner. A bolt from the blue, another gigantic scary-looking creature with enormous razor-like teeth burst out of the water, bit the mermaid's body in half, leaving the tail of the mermaid wriggling on my raft, and her blood splattered on me. The creature then paused to look at me before surfacing half of its body staring at me. This creature towers as tall as the highest mountains. It has a humanoid face with razor-like teeth protruding out of its mouth. At the back of its body, tentacles of human hands were projected. I looked at it terrified, not knowing what to do, but convincing myself that it was just a dream. However, a sense of dread settled in the pit of my stomach, prompting me that everything that happened might actually be real. I faced up and saw the creature dash its tall stature down towards me with its tentacles of human hand. In a flash, fire covers the sky above me and I felt like my raft was being tossed around and overturned. As I was imagining my last moments, a white light suddenly strikes my raft. A white figure carrying a scythe appeared in front of me. He looks like a sorcerer from the Wizard of Oz. Perplexed and fearful of what I saw, I tripped over the raft and fell into the waters. Could he be the Grim Reaper? I thought as I slowly sunk deeper and deeper. That's when I shut my eyes and saw nothing but silent darkness as I passed out, with a suicidal thought of giving up my soul, thus ending my miserable life as I have always wanted to. See me in hell. As I sink deeper, my lungs start to burn as water was getting into my nose and mouth. It felt like a slow death, but I'm already dead. Though I was struggling with waters in my lungs, the thought of sinking deeper to death still prevails within me. When I slowly began to gain consciousness, I saw a multitude of people floating in the water comatose. Who are they? I thought to myself. Are these corpses of those who drowned in a tragedy? I was approaching one of them, and he opened his eyes out of the blue. I froze, and when I was back to my senses, adrenaline pumped within me, giving the energy for me to resurface, hanging onto a log from the overturned raft. Meanwhile, a fierce battle between the wizard and the demon broke out. The wizard dashed forward with its scythe slashing the inside of the demon as it opens its mouth ready to devour the wizard. Blood splurts from the jaws of the demon. Ready for another onslaught, the wizard rushes towards the monstrous hands charging against him. Out of impulse, I stepped in, intercepting the wizard from behind, thus dragging him into the waters, and the battle ceased. Despite my effort, the wizard angrily shouted at me to stay out of the battle. It's dangerous? Shouldn't you be running away from the demon? I angrily replied. If that's what you want, go ahead, he replied. Where am I? Is this hell? Are you the Grim Reaper? I asked. Why would this be hell? He replied in frustration. I looked at him all confused. What? You didn't want to live, right? That's why you are here. It's a place for those who committed suicide at a young age. It's the Sanzu River, a river for the suicidals. It's a paradise for people like you. You can choose to die anytime you wish, he replied as the demon towered over us in the blood-red waters which was once clear. Stay tuned to find out what happens in the next episode. Until next time.